this seal is not intact. So let's see, should be able to pop this free. Yep, check that out. So that seal is no good. Definitely the issue why it was not getting up to temp. That's interesting. Wonder how that happened. Jeepers, if you're watching this video, you probably have a check engine light like I do. This is a Jeep with 205,000 miles on it, so we do have some problems here and there, and this one is a P0128, which is basically telling the computer that the engine is not warming up quickly enough, that it is cooler than what it's expected at the given time. So if we look down here at the freeze frame data, the engine coolant temp was 176, and I've kind of drove around watching the engine coolant temp, and it's true, it does not warm up very fast. Usually I'm gonna say 15-20 minutes before it finally gets up to operating temperature, which is roughly 205 degrees. So we're gonna replace this thermostat. That's the most likely culprit of it. The thermostat's stuck open. Pretty easy repair to do. Not very daunting at all. There's a couple good videos on YouTube, but a lot of them are parts manufacturers where they have perfect garages and all the tools you need and everything, which is a great video to watch. But I also like seeing real world applications, a guy in a driveway or in a garage, something like that, messing with it. So we're going to tackle that and show you can do it. Any kind of repair, when you get into the coolant system, I like to start draining first before I tear stuff apart. So to get access to this is right below the grill on the passenger side. There is a little knob right there. I've turned it about 2 full rotations to get it to start dripping. See if I can get you another image. This is looking from underneath, and hopefully you can see up there I got the tube attached to it, trying to catch some of it, but you can see most of it's falling on the sway bar. Used a couple different wrenches to try to get to it. What I found worked best for me, crescent wrench, 8-inch, kind of put it on that little tab right down there, and then just started twisting it. It's able to get enough leverage that way. Your setup might be a little bit different depending on what bumper you have and everything, but that worked out for me. Might have to get it trimmed from the bottom as well. So what we need to do is get access to that thermostat housing down there. So we don't need to train the whole system, but at least down to that level. So about half the height of the radiator itself. So we can get to all that. So now kind of let it do its thing, and I will start tearing stuff. Sounds like it's just about finished draining. Kind of go over some of the stuff you need. This is a Doorman thermostat housing, 902-852. You can see the housing comes with the thermostat, new gasket and everything, so that will all get replaced. See, there's going to be 2 bolts that we'll have to pull, top and bottom, and of course the hose. So for tools, I do have hose clamp, pliers, backup wrench in case I can't get access with this here. Primarily 10mm socket, couple extensions, wrench if you need it, Phillips screwdriver, flat blade screwdriver, and of course a funnel afterwards to fill it up. So what I did is I've already kind of loosened up everything. Top cover comes off. It's pretty easy. You're familiar with that if you're a Jeeper. I loosened up my intake already, so that should come free along with all the hoses on it. Remember, there is a connector right there underneath it, so that needs to come off. But what you need to do is get this whole tube or air box off. If you've got the stock tube, you'll have 2 10mm bolts right here that you have to come off. So we'll finish getting that out of the way, and then we will get access to that housing. You can kind of see the top bolt there. There's going to be one right underneath it. Those are the 2 10mm, and then this has to come off. And really, that's it. Once you get that off, you're practically halfway there. You're done. So we'll finish that setup now. Alright, Jeepers, you can see I'm pretty much done draining now. I maybe have a gallon down there in the bucket. I did pull the cap off the radiator to make it drain a little bit smoother. I was able to get my pliers on it, broke this free, so that is loose. I need to get the hose off, which maybe, just maybe, come off easily. Don't look like it. I got a little bit of movement out of it, but oh, there we go. All right, so I expect a little bit of fluid to come out. What's kind of in this little trap right here. So we'll get a little bit of fluid out, and I do have a drip pan underneath there. There we go. So yeah, a little bit. You can kind of see it down there in the catch pan. And now, time to pull those two bolts off. That guy right there, and then the bottom one. So again, 10mm ratchet. Get it on there straight and break those free. I'll do that with two hands, but you guys catch the idea. So one and then two down there. Here's the bottom bolt. That one's free, and the top bolt free also. So I've got those loose. Little pry, pull that off. And here's our stat. Look at that guy. Notice that my gasket came off. So I need to retrieve that. And you can kind of see it pushed on there and deformed. Pry that guy off. And my housing's pretty clean. What I'm going to do is kind of not scuff it up. You're not using sandpaper or anything like that, but maybe a light emery pad, Scotch-Brite pad. Shoot, even just a rag with this with a little bit of friction will clean that little bit of sediment off, because you're not using any sort of sealant on it. You're just relying on this gasket. So clean that surface up, pop the new one back on, and like I said, you're halfway there. It's as easy as that. Now we just got to put it back together. Alright, so I've wiped down the remaining little bit of it. Next thing to do, take your new housing, make sure your O-ring is in place, and go ahead and start reassembling. So this will be the first step, and then we'll kind of work in reverse from here. You'll get these two bolts torqued down to 105 inch-pounds. So pretty light amount. Remember, you're just going into this, holding down this plastic housing. We don't need a whole lot of torque on it. So 105 inch-pounds is what you need. That's the factory specs. Also note that what I did do after I got this housing off, I did go ahead and close that little drain valve down there at the bottom, just so I'm not draining excessive fluids amount. So that way I don't have to refill as much, because, you know, if you're driving a Jeep, you are going to be kind of frugal. You got to save money where you can. All these repairs you got to make to it. So I like to say I'm towed a line of being environmentally conscious because of that. So frugal, cheap, whatever you want to call it, but hey, let's try to save some fluid if we can. Alright, so now hook that up, and like I said, torque this down, and we're done down here. Alright, 105 inch-pounds, so we're good there. Got my hose back on, so now I can start putting together my air box, hoses, all that kind of stuff. Intake can go back together, and then we fill this thing up and check it out. Alright, finishing it up now. Got some antifreeze in there, my Mopar mixture, tighten up all my hoses. Don't forget your sensor down there, breather hoses, put it all back together. So I've got it running now, burping all those air bubbles out. And back over here, looking to see my engine temp's coming up. It's been running for about 3 minutes, 4 minutes, something like that. Like I said, just slowly coming up in temp. I'll make sure that it gets its 205, make sure the thermostat opens, add more coolant as I need to, but that'll fix the issue. You can clear the code if you want to. If you got a code reader, you can discharge the battery, clear it. I'm just going to wait and let it clear it on its own once it realizes that, hey, I'm doing what I should be now. I don't need to check engine light anymore. So like I said, just going to monitor it for a little bit, and we're good to go. So hopefully you learn something from it. At least you know that it's not a very difficult task to do. Very basic hand tools, and save a couple $100, I'm sure. I got about $40 in parts between the thermostat housing and antifreeze, so that's it. So just continue to let that rise and make sure it's not overheating. Make sure it is controlling the temperature like it's supposed to. So thanks guys, hope you liked it. If you do, hit the thumbs up, hit subscribe, and I'll post some more videos.